You have to Book.XX here, and welcome to something I have not done in a while. Well, kinda. I guess this is kind of a reaction video, but I have already seen this video. But, basically, a little bit of background. So, yesterday, actually no, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. I was scrolling through my YouTube feed, and I saw that Mojo Plays, which is like WatchMojo's gaming-related channel, had uploaded a video called Top 10 Hardest Persona Bosses. So, as I'm sure you all know at this point, if you're a subscriber, and if you're not, hi, welcome to my shithole of a channel. Yeah, but if you've been subscribed for a while, you probably know that I've become a pretty big Persona fan over the past year. And I've played, just to get this out of the way, the games I've played are Persona 5 Vanilla, Persona 5 Royal, Persona 4 Vanilla, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 3 Vanilla, Persona 3 FES, and Persona 3 Portable. Those are all the mainline games I've played. I haven't played Persona 1 and 2, although I do intend to at some point. I've also played pretty much all of the spin-offs, so like Persona 5 Strikers, the Persona 4 Arena games, Persona 4 Dancing, Persona 3 and 5 Dancing, and I'm currently playing through Persona Q, which sucks, by the way. But anyway, that's just so you guys know like what my experience is, because I know Persona fans can be kind of judgmental at times. But yeah, anyway. So, I think it's fair to say I have a decent bit of experience with this franchise. So I was kind of, knowing WatchMojo's reputation, I was like, okay, this should be interesting. I watched it and immediately knew I was going to have to make a video on this. So we're just going to go through this and we'll just see what happens, alright? That's all I'm going to say. Let's not waste any time. Let's just get right into this.
Can you not understand? It is impossible to defeat me.
Fitting way to start the video.
Welcome to Mojo Plays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 hardest Persona bosses.
Alright.
Make sure you have plenty of SP before taking on these shadows.
Oh my god, come on, just stop with that shit. Oh god, dude, okay, they're using footage from Persona 5, that's the royal version of the fight, at least if the fucking thing is to be believed. And, yeah, the Madarame fight, in my opinion, is actually, it's hard in the original, but it's not too hard in Royal. Obviously, we're not into the actual Angie side, I just thought I'd comment on that.
For this list, we're looking at the most difficult bosses we've ever encountered across the Persona games. Which of these bosses witnessed your resolve?
Just stop.
Share with us in the comments below. Spoiler alert, there will be some mild spoilers ahead for Persona 3, 4, and 5. You have been warned.
So, yeah, that's something. The only bosses that they ever talk about in the game are ones from Persona 3, 4, and 5. Now, I can't really say shit, because I haven't played Persona 1 and 2 either. But, like, I don't know. That just kind of rubs me the wrong way that they don't include Persona 1 and 2 at all. There's not a single entry on this list from Persona 1 and 2. I'm just going to say that ahead of time.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long.
Yeah, whatever.
So, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified.
Whatever. Oh! So, number 10
Persona
is the...
series.
Alright, so number 10 is the Reaper. Okay, having the Reaper at number 10 feels weird. Because, to be honest, I don't even know if I would count the Reaper. Like, the Reaper, in my eyes, is just like a beefed-up fucking shadow. I don't even really see him as a boss. And if you are going to include him, like, I feel like he should be way higher up the list than, like, fucking number 10. That's if this is even going in an order. It might not be. But, I don't know, just having the Reaper as the first one you bring up is a little weird. I don't know, as I say, I don't know if I count the Reaper. I've beaten the Reaper in a few Persona games. I've beaten it in Persona 3 FES, although I did cheese it using the Odin strat. I beat it legitimately in Persona 3 Portable, and I also beat it in Persona 5 Strikers, which I don't think that counts. So, yeah, I've beaten it in 2 versions of Persona 3. Reaper's very hard. The Reaper is not designed to be a fair fight, so this is a good entry if you want to count him, but personally I wouldn't have counted the Reaper. Nah, Fook, I'm gonna stay right here. He just instantly uses Hamon as the first fucking skill. Are you fucking kidding me?
Players will have missed entirely depending on which game you're playing.
Oh yeah, in Persona 4 it's very easy to miss the Reaper. I think, isn't the Reaper in Persona 4, like the original PS2 version, exclusive to New Game Plus? I know in Golden he isn't, but I think in the PS2 version the Reaper was exclusive to New Game Plus, which is weird.
In Persona 4, for instance, you won't find the Reaper at all unless you play the game more than once.
Okay, so yeah, that basically confirms what I just said.
However, in 3 and 5, you've got to keep your wits about you while exploring Tartarus and Mementos.
Yeah, the way Persona 4 handles the Reaper is really, really weird. Like, I don't know how I feel about the way that game handles, because it's like, the way it works is like he appears on a chest, and like he appears on like a random chest on the floor, and you hear chains rattling, and then like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like, because the whole point of the Reaper in Persona 3 was, like, to make sure you didn't spend too much time on a floor. Like, why not just keep that? I don't understand why they didn't keep that. No shit,
It
Futaba.
essentially exists to stop you grinding in the dungeons for too long, to ensure the game's pacing is kept intact.
Hilariously, in Persona 5, the vanilla version, it's very easy to cheese the Reaper. So, that doesn't exactly work out. If anything, he helped with grinding.
After all, you're not supposed to reach the final boss of Tartarus and Mementos until the very end of the games, which is why the Reaper is designed to take out your entire party. It is
What? No, what do you mean, like, you're not supposed to? You say that like you can, but the Reaper is there to stop you. You physically cannot just go to the bottom of Mementos or the top of Tartarus. You physically cannot do that. The Reaper has nothing to do with that.
is possible to beat it once your party is strong enough, but it's always going to be a hugely difficult fight you're better off avoiding.
Honestly, when I beat him legitimately in Persona 3 Portable, I did have to retry a bunch of times, and I did have to do very specific tactics, but, like, once I got the tactic down, he actually wasn't really that hard. It's just, all it really came down to at that point was the RNG aspect, which kind of goes for any turn-based RPG.
Game once. Or, you know, wait until flu season is up in Persona 5, and then encounter the Reaper.
Yeah, because he just dies instantly, which they fixed that in Royal, thank God.
That's how most people do it.
Yeah, until they fixed it in Royal, which is the version that most people hopefully would play.
Carolyn and Justine, Persona 5.
Okay, so I haven't actually fought Caroline and Justine, so I can't really comment much on this one.
Now then, do not disappoint us.
That pose makes me laugh.
In every game, Igor in the Velvet Room will have at least one assistant, ostensibly all related to each other.
Yeah,
And that
so
assistant will likely appear
I'm just
as
gonna,
optional
like,
and potentially
I'm just gonna skip over this one because I have really nothing to say. All I really have to say about this one is that, yeah, I hear the Caroline and Justine fight is hard, but another thing is that this is on here, but the Lavenza fight is not on this list. And from what I hear, the Lavenza fight is supposed to be fucking ridiculous. Like, from what I've seen of it, I saw a clip of someone using Izanagi no Okami, you know, like one of the most broken fucking personas in Persona 5. Actually, no, he's the most broken persona in Persona 5. He can take out almost all of Yaldabaoth's health in one hit if you set it up right. They used that on, they used Myriad Truths on fucking, what's her name, Lavenza, and it fucking barely did any damage. That's like a ridiculous amount of, that's what we're talking about here with fucking, Lavenza. So it's kind of weird to me that she isn't on here. But yeah, I'm just going to skip over this one because I can't really comment on this one. It explodes.
Contrarian King, Persona 4.
Right, so this was like the first one that made me go like, what? This was the first one where I was kind of like, huh? Because like I do remember the Contrarian King. It's the optional fight after you beat Yukiko's dungeon. But like I did not find this fight hard at all. Like I remember trying to fight it right after I beat Yukiko's castle in the original Persona 4. And yeah, it kicked my ass. But then once I beat Kanji's bathhouse, I was able to go back to it and beat the motherfucker pretty easily. So, like, I don't think this guy's all that hard. I don't know why he's on this. I've never even heard people bring this guy up in terms of, like, hard boss fights.
It's not going down. It got back up! Hurry and beat it!
Oh god, Teddy has got to be the worst fucking navigator in the whole franchise.
Yet another optional boss, this one you could easily miss.
How have these all been optional bosses so far?
It's only available in Yukiko's castle, the first major dungeon of the game.
Well, you said this one you could easily miss, but I think out of the three that you've done, this is the hardest one to miss, considering the game directly tells you that it's there.
And only after May 1st. Though he looks like a silly mascot you don't need to take too seriously, he's actually a notoriously tricky boss among the fans of the games.
Really? I've never heard this guy get brought up, ever. I have never heard anyone bring this guy up.
Especially because he appears so early on. This might convince new players that they're appropriately leveled to fight him, but they most definitely are not.
Well, no, like, once you beat fucking... As I say, once you beat the Kanji bathhouse, well, once I beat the Kanji's bathhouse, I was able to beat the thing pretty easily. And how I was even able then to go and beat the one in the bathhouse right afterwards. So maybe this is just the hardest one of these bosses. I guess I could see into that, but I don't know. If you wanted to go with, like, a boss that's, like, notoriously hard among the community, you should have gone with the Crying Table from Persona 3, because that is a tough fight. That fight is fucking hard. Well, in the original and FES anyway. In Portable, it's kind of a joke. But in Persona 3, like, FES and the original, because you can't control your party members, that fight is a lot harder. Like, I think in my vanilla Persona 3 playthrough, I think, from what I remember, during that fight, all of my party members went down, and I had, like, and the thing was doing so much fucking damage that I literally just, like, I think I had Saki Mitama, and I was just, like, healing myself. Every time he would attack, I would heal myself, just waiting for an opening so I could revive Yukari, so that she could fucking heal me and I'd be able to take the dude down. It was like one of the most clutch things I've ever fucking done, and I actually managed to beat it. I'm still so proud of that, because I was a little bit under level whenever I fought him. So yeah, well, I wasn't under level. My party was, because when I was playing Persona 3, I was a goddamn idiot and didn't stick to the same party, even though I had played Persona 4 and knew that was I don't fucking know.
Should leave and come back.
But yeah, that's what should have been on
When you
here.
finally defeat him, you unlock a unique weapon for Yukiko once she joins the party and get a permanent courage buff. Worth it in the long run.
Not really. I mean, the courage buff you can get there's other ways you can get the courage buff. And also that weapon does not last very long. So, honestly, it's not worth it. Okay, we're going for the
Madarame,
Japanese version now.
Persona 5.
Right, so since it says Persona 5 and not Persona 5 Royal, I'm going to assume they mean the one from the original Persona 5, which I agree with. Madarame is hard as fuck in the original Persona 5.
Now, let's begin, vermin.
The final boss of the game's second palace,
Yep.
Madarame stands out as one of the more difficult in the whole game. This is because
Definitely.
he turns into a giant face made out of paintings. You've got to knock down all the different pieces of his face at once, otherwise they regenerate in a few turns.
See, that I'm fine with, but then, like, once you knock it all down, then you have to do damage to the actual Madarame, and then the face comes back, and it's just, like, it just repeats the cycle over and over again. Obviously, if you wait long enough, you get the option to put the paint on him, which is, you know, makes things easier, but I didn't know about that at the time. But, yeah, this fight was way better in Royal, because in Royal, it's a lot easier, and the paintings don't come back, but it's easier in a good way because it actually teaches you how good the baton pass can be, which is perfect because that's the point when you've just unlocked Yusuke, whose entire moveset basically revolves around the baton pass, and you know, this is a fight that's very personal to Yusuke as a character, so I think it fits really, really well. Plus the fight was just fucking dope, seeing all the different elemental Madarames. I like the fight a lot in Royal. I don't hate the fight in the original, but it is definitely a lot harder than it needs to be. For the second main boss, like, it didn't need to be as hard as it was.
This also isn't something that new players will know right away, leaving them likely wasting SP in the beginning. The secret to the fight is to have attacks that can target all of the paintings at once.
Yeah, the best thing to do is to have Ryuji, like, use a multi-targeting physical skill, which will take out usually the nose and the eyes. The mouth will drain that, but then you'll have, you should have one of your other party members just use a strong magic attack. And would be really, really good for it because of how high her magic stat is. You could also use Morgana because he has a pretty high magic stat as well. But that's basically what you should do to get the things down. That's the best way of doing it. It's easier said than done, but it's not the hardest thing in the world.
Which is easier said than done since,
like I just said,
they all have different amounts of HP, and since the attacks like that use a lot of points, you know?
Well, that's why you use physical attacks for most of them. Because most of them are vulnerable to
Jin and
physical.
Takaya, Persona 3.
Right. So when I watched this video the other day, and they said Jin and Takaya, that's what I knew. I was like, they have to be taking the piss. For anyone who hasn't played Persona 3, Jin and Takaya are like somewhat main antagonists, and you fight them twice. Once together, and then once like as separate bosses. They're pathetic. They are complete fucking jokes. The first fight with them, the one we fight them both at the same time, is one of the most pathetic bosses in the entire franchise. It goes down so quickly. And then whenever you fight them separately in the final stretch of the game, they were no harder. I mean, Takaya's a little bit beefy, but he's still not hard, like at all. I didn't struggle with those fights at all. No. In all fairness, when I played Persona 3, all 3 times that I played the game, I was level 90 during that part, and you're only supposed to be around level 75 usually, so that may have something to do with it. The reason I was level 90 was because I wanted to fuse Messiah, because I just thought that fit thematically. And then I kind of got into the ritual across my different playthroughs, but yeah, maybe that has something to do with it, but I couldn't imagine these fights being much harder around level 75. Like, I don't know. These guys just aren't hard.
That is Takaya's wish.
And even if you are going to talk about the second fights, the only one that I could see being an actual challenge at all would be Takaya because of how tanky he is. So why is Jin being brought up if that's the case? You know what I mean? I could see into Takaya a little bit, but not Jin.
So I'm not backing down. Enough talk.
I hate these two, by the way.
Let's do this.
They're like some of the worst written antagonists I've ever fucking seen.
Takaya is set up as a major antagonist for most of Persona 3, though in typical Persona fashion, he is not the final boss of the game.
Yep.
At one point, you'll need to fight Takaya and his less powerful but no less annoying techie, Jin, on the Moonlight Bridge.
Honestly, I think I don't know who out of the two of them I hate more, because fucking Jin like sounds more robotic than Aegis does, and that's fucking saying something, considering Aegis is actually a goddamn robot. Yeah, Takaya is just, every time Takaya opens his mouth, he pisses me off because he's so fucking pretentious. Maybe that's what they were going for, but I don't know. These guys are not deep characters, and they're supposed to be main fucking villains. Like, come on, dude.
Give me a sec. I'll scan the target.
Their boss theme kicks ass, though. That's undeniable. Also, he just use Agidyne on him? Hold on, do you have Agidyne by that point in the game? Huh. Would you have Agidyne by that point in the game? I don't actually remember. Holy shit!
Formidable foes as the rival Persona users to the main
That's a lot of damage. Well, okay, maybe it won't, because look, fucking Yukari's using Garula, so... Okay.
party members, and they will drain your vital resources during the Dark Hour while you make your way towards the level's final boss.
You say that, but all of your fucking HP and SP gets restored after the fight, so...
To add insult to injury, you don't even really defeat them here. They're able to escape. Two heads are always harder to...
Wait, so you're actually talking about the fight on the Moonlight Bridge? Like the really, really easy one? Why are these guys on the list? For fuck's sake!
beat than one.
I have failed.
I'm sorry, just the image of Takaya just lying on the ground in a Jesus pose is fucking hilarious to me. Okay, sorry about that cut there. I accidentally clicked out of the fucking thing. I don't know how I managed to do that, but yeah.
Haven't I?
Masayoshi Shido, Persona 5.
Okay, so again, this is a fight that actually deserves to be on the list, because, yeah, Shido is fucking hard.
There is no need for thieves in my mighty country.
I actually remember when I fought him in the original Persona 5, I literally was up all night trying to fucking beat him. And eventually I just got lucky and managed to beat him. Now, to be fair, I think part of the reason I struggled on that fight is because I was under-leveled for a good amount of my playthrough of Persona 5. Just to be clear, fucking... My Persona 5 was my first Persona game, so I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. So I was like, no bullshit. By the time I got to the final boss, I was 10 levels below what I was actually supposed to be at. So I actually ended up having to grind for the final boss, which was pretty easy because they have fucking like two really, really strong shadows, right before the final boss, so grinding was pretty easy. But maybe that's why I found Shido really, really hard, because when I fought Shido in Royal, I beat him in one fucking try. Then again, that might be because Royal is considerably easier than the original, so I don't know. But yeah, either way, this guy does deserve to be on the list, because I struggle with this guy a lot.
Revere me are needed.
Like Takaya, Shido
It's
is
a
set
good
up
boss,
as the
though.
main villain and the primary foil for the main character. His palace is the
Oh yeah, also hot take, I think Shido's one of the best villains in Persona 5. I know that's a hot take, but I don't care. I think Shido's great as a villain.
last true palace in the game, with the final one actually being found at the bottom of Mementos. And
Doesn't mean it's not a true palace. It still has a main layer. It's still a palace. It's the palace of the general public. That's literally stated in game.
until you complete Mementos, he is the final boss.
Why won't you stop resisting?
Honestly, Shido could have been the final boss, because it's a good fight and it's a challenge. So,
The nation I strive for is the...
like, how many phases does Shido have? Like, doesn't Shido have like 6 phases? Yeah, because he has the first phase where he's immune to physical. He has the second phase where he's immune to magic. Then he has the third phase, like the pyramid one, where he goes down really, really quickly. Then he has the buff phase, the Samuel phase. Then he has the true Samuel phase where he goes all red and shit. Which, that's it for the original game. Then in Royal, he has a 6th phase where you have to fight him alone as Joker. So, yeah, this guy has 5 to 6 phases depending on what version of the game you're playing. And all of them, well, 3 of the different phases have different health bars. The first 3 phases share a health bar, then the second 2 have Sorry, no, the first 3 all share a health bar, then phases 4 and 5 have their own full health bars, and the 6th phase shares a health bar with the 5th. I apologize if that made no sense.
The ultimate realization of the public's happiness.
His palace takes the form of an enormous cruise ship topped with Japan's houses of government, indicating how he controls Japanese politics.
Funnily enough, I think that palace was like the one palace that genuinely got better in Royal. Because like Okuruma's palace was also better in Royal, but like Shido's palace went from being complete shit to actually a really, really good palace. Okuruma's palace just went from being bad to being good. But like Shido's went from bad to fantastic in Royal. Just shows you how bad those fucking mouse puzzles were, because God.
Obviously, this can't stand, and after his villainy is hinted at for the entire game, it's cathartic to get to fight him. He is, of course, a difficult foe with high HP and high attack power.
And he knows damn near every skill in the fucking game, so there's that!
Not to mention, totally arrogant.
That's
Few
true,
bosses in gaming have proven so satisfying to beat. And let me tell you, I was celebrating when I finally brought him down.
Oh, me too. Me too, trust me.
That butt munch had it coming.
Yeah, see that shit right there? I remember when he stood up and started doing that, I was like, oh my god, do not tell me there's another phase. The game fucking fakes you out after that fight. The game knows how hard that fight is.
Cognitive Wakaba Ishiki, Persona 5.
Okay, so I have mixed feelings about this fight being on the list. Because on one hand, I struggled with this fight a lot the first time round. But as I said, that may be because I was just a fucking idiot. To give you an idea of how stupid I was in my first playthrough, I didn't use fusion at all in my first playthrough of Persona 5. That's how fucking dumb I was. So, yeah, that may have been a part of it. Another part of it was that it's really, really useful. In the original Persona 5, it's really, really useful to have the ability to switch out party members during this fight. Because different party members are just better for different parts of the fight. But I didn't have enough fucking charm to start Hifumi's social link yet, so I didn't have that either. And I remember once I found out about that afterwards, I was like, oh my god, this would have been so useful during the Wakaba fight. So, but aside from that, this fight is very easy to cheat. In Royal, this fight is very, very easy. This fight's like completely different in Royal. It's like basically an event fight in that game. But in the original, this fight is kind of hard, but it can be cheesed. Because the only attacks Wakaba ever uses are wind attacks and physical attacks. Well, that and very, very rarely she'll use Megi Dolan, which not a lot of people know about, but that is a thing she can do. But for the most part, she only uses wind and physical attacks. So if you get a persona that reflects both of those, she will literally kill herself. Like, that's the thing about this fight, is that, yeah, it's challenging, but if you know what you're doing, this fight's a complete fucking pushover. Also, I'm sorry, cognitive Wakaba's design is really, really dumb. Like, what is that? It's a fucking, like, giant lion body with wings with a Karen head. Like, dude, what is that?
Found at the end of
It's a
Futaba's
Karen
Kitsune's
Sphinx.
Palace, Cognitive Wakaba Ishiki is a demonic representation of Futaba's own mother, appearing as a sphinx. She's one of the game's biggest and most threatening bosses, destroying the entire pyramid you've been battling through.
Well, more so just the top of it. Oh my god, and the way she says Futaba's name, like, 17 different times throughout the fight is absolutely hilarious. I was laughing my ass off at that.
She's got a lot of powerful attacks that will inflict knockdown on your party members, thus granting her an extra turn, not to mention a...
Yeah, Ryuji's not a very good idea for this fight, because he will go down so quick.
monstrous area of effect dive attack. Much of the fight actually relies on Futaba going through a personal journey in the background until she's finally able to show up and help you win the fight for good with a gigantic crossbow and a UFO.
Yep.
A ballista? Shoot it down with this, then beat the crap out of it.
Izanami, Persona 4.
Okay. So, this is the final boss of Persona 4. And Izanami wasn't a memorable fight, I don't think. I mean, it had really good music and all that, and the stuff that happens at the end of it's actually pretty cool. But, like, I never really found this fight all that challenging. Like, I think the hardest part about this fight is that her first phase goes on for a long enough time for your SP to actually drain, so that when the second proper phase begins, like, you're basically left without SP, which in the original Persona 4 was a problem, because, like, here's the thing, Persona 4, unlike Personas 3 and 5, Somas are really, really rare to come by. Like, in Persona 5, there's a couple set locations where you can find Somas, and in Persona 3, the game literally hands you, like, 20 of them throughout the course of the game. So, but in Persona 4, you can literally go through your entire playthrough without finding a single one. So, obviously, a Soma would make that way easier, because you can just, you know, bring all your HP and SP back up, and you can basically have a fresh party. But, yeah, in Persona 4... as I say, Somas are really, really rare. In my PS2 playthrough, I got to the end with 2 Somas, so I was fine. I always save Somas for the final boss my first time through, just in case the final boss is always hard. So, and it did help me in that scenario. But in Golden, that's not a problem, because Rise is there, and Rise can just carry you through the entire fucking fight, because Rise is broken as hell in Golden. Like, I did not expect the most broken party member in Persona 4 to be Rise. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, it's considerably easier in Golden simply because of the existence of reset. Like in my Golden playthrough, I did not find a single Soma throughout the whole game, so I was worried about this fight, but then, yeah, reset just carried me through it.
The want to show and the want to see. I granted a window that
So yeah, this is a
catered
weird
to
fight to
both.
put on here.
That is all.
The real final boss, you eventually learn that Izanami has been pulling the strings all along. You also find out that another difficult boss, Ameno Sagiri, is actually just a small...
Honestly, Amano Sagiri would have been a better pick, because that fight did give me a lot of trouble. I remember I beat Izanami first try, like, on my first playthrough, but Amano Sagiri took me a few tries.
part of Izanami
So
herself.
he would have been a much
For
better
longtime
pick.
fans of Persona, this won't be the first time they've encountered her, as she also shows up in nearly every mainline Megami Tensei game, as well as older
Well, I mean, Megami Tensei literally means rebirth of the goddess, so that makes sense.
Persona titles.
See what I mean about Rise?
But this encounter is particularly memorable, as we find out she's the one who's been...
Like, oh my god, okay, I just gotta gush about this. The design for Izanami in those fights is so fucking cool. It really fits. It actually fits really well with the story of Izanagi and Izanami. I just needed to, because, you know, the first phase is her all bandaged up, like she's covering up what she looks like, and then the second phase is the monstrous form that she was trying to hide, like whenever Izanagi lit the fucking comb on fire. Like, it's just, it fits so well.
giving the people the ability to conjure personas. Eventually, she transforms into Izanami no Okami, one of the most gruesome bosses in the franchise.
How can your powers rival mine?
Nick's avatar, Persona 3.
Alright. Okay, so most people will probably be fine with the next avatar being on here. Hot take time. I think the next avatar is the easiest final boss out of all the Persona games. I do not think the next avatar is hard at all. I never struggled with it. Obviously it has like fucking like 13 different phases? Like, but those first 12 phases go down in like a turn or two. They go down so quickly, and then the final phase, yes, has a lot of health and some crazy fucking moves. But I don't know, I never struggled with it. Again, that may have been because I was at level 90 at this point when you're only really supposed to be around level 75, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I don't know, I never really struggled with this fight. The hardest part about this fight is the move that she does when she gets really, really low down. Then she does this move where she inflicts your party members with random elements, and then, yeah, they can inflict charm, which then can make your party members heal the boss to its full health. I did have that happen to me my first time around, but I recovered from it and still managed to beat it first try. And then in FES, I just knew to have a bunch of discharms on me. And then in fucking Portable, she didn't even get to do that move. She died before she could actually do it. So, yeah, I don't know. I never struggled with this fight.
Then you also understand that it's pointless to resist. So
Although, as I said, that may be because I was level 90 when I was supposed to be in the mid-70s. So, I don't know.
why do you? There must be fear in your hearts.
For the entire game, you're threatened with the coming of Nyx, who plans to destroy Earth after defeat...
Okay, no, not for the entire game. It's like for the second half of the game, if that. You don't know about Nyx until like after you've taken down the 13 Shadows. So no, you're not threatens that for the entire game.
The 12 bosses that symbolize the major arcana. The Nyx avatar is infamously difficult within the Persona community for good reason. You'll come across this infamously difficult boss once you finally reach the top of Tartarus. Even if you...
And I will say, it's a cool boss fight. It's actually a really, really cool boss fight. Like, just from a design standpoint, how it changes between the different arcanas and shit. That's such a cool idea. I'm not saying it's a bad fight. I'm just saying it's a pretty easy fight.
Know exactly what you're doing and have your party managed efficiently. The hardest part of this fight might simply be just how long it takes.
Yeah, honest to God, I think with a lot of Persona bosses, people mistake length for difficulty. Because, yeah, this fight takes you a while, but it's not really hard. You know what I mean? Also, the boss music is so fucking good. It's... oh my god.
Shall perish. The time has come.
Though, if anyone is familiar with JRPGs and how notoriously long their boss fights can be, that's probably not a problem for you. Nyx symbolizes death and fear, and has a lot of phases to get through. Worse,
As I said, those phases go by pretty quickly, though.
its arcana will constantly change during the fight, meaning you've got to have varied personas at the ready to take out.
Not really. Like, yeah, no, not really. I just stuck with Messiah pretty much the whole time. Like, I was fine.
You can't stick with one. You need a diverse arsenal.
As I said, I pretty much stuck with Messiah, except for whenever she started using, like, curse moves, then I switched over to Thanatos, just simply so I wouldn't get, you know, insta-killed. But aside from, like, that phase, I was mostly able to just stick with Messiah. And the only reason I switched was because of, you know, like, it wasn't for attacking reasons, it was for, like, defense reasons. The Arcana is the witch by means all is revealed. That's been drilled into everybody who's ever played this fight. So I'm sitting here editing this video and realize, my god, I actually just said that backwards. How the fuck did I manage to do that?
Number 1, the Big Bang Burger Challenge, Persona 5.
Okay, no, legit though, that burger is fucking absurd. Like, Jesus Christ.
It takes an entire game of grinding out those social stats.
I think I almost did complete all the Big Bang Burger challenges on my Royal playthrough. I didn't actually get doing it. Same goes for the Aya Rainy Day challenge in Persona 4 Gold. I got close to it, but I didn't actually end up doing it.
That's to finally...
like, I did max out my stats, I just ended up doing it, like, towards the end of the game and ran out of time.
overcome this beefy beast of a food challenge and become Tokyo's foremost eating contest champion.
How would you even go about eating that?
We're just kidding, of course.
Yeah, of course.
The only conspicuous absence from our list is actually our number 1 here. Sort of. Even though we don't have numbers. Yaldabaoth, Persona 5.
Okay. So Yaldabaoth. Right, so I struggled a lot on the Yaldabaoth fight my first time around. But, as I say, I was 10 levels below what I was actually supposed to be at. And I realized that fairly quickly. And once I realized that, then I went and grinded those 2 strong shadows right before the door to where Yaldabaoth is. And, yeah, once I got to level, like, 75 and all my team members learned all their moves, Yaldabaoth was kind of a pushover. Like, I will say, Yaldabaoth is I think Yaldabaoth is the hardest of all the Persona boss fights. To be clear, what I meant to say there was that Yaldabaoth is the hardest of all the Persona final boss fights. Not, obviously, he's not the hardest Persona boss fight, because I literally say I disagree with him being this high on the list, but what I meant was the hardest of all the Persona final boss fights, because I never really considered the final bosses of Persona to be all that hard, so just to clear up, that's what I meant by that. Simply just because of all of the different weapons that he has, and the fact that they all reflect and drain different things, which is really, really cool. I actually really, really like that concept. I think it works really, really well. And Yaldabaoth is a great fight, but once I was at the right level, I just didn't find it that hard. What I did was I basically just, in the original, actually, here's a little bit of advice for anyone who might be struggling on this fight. A really, really good Persona, in vanilla this is, I mean, well, it works in Royal too, just not as well. A really, really good Persona for this fight is Rangda. Rangda makes this fight completely fucking trivial in a lot of ways. Well, I wouldn't say completely trivial, but Rangda does make the fight a lot easier, because it basically it makes the gun and the sword basically non-threats to Joker, and also it knows Maracunda, so that allows you to, you know, lower Yaldabaoth's defense. And then obviously Ryuji learns Mitaru Kaja, so you can just Mitaru Kaja everyone up. So that's just like typical Megami Tensei shit, you know, just keep the boss debuff, keep yourself buffed, and then on Ryuji and Yusuke, if you manage to get it on him in Royal, use charge, and then followed by a physical attack every single turn. And then during the part where it starts charging up the fucking big move, the one that it will insta-kill you, the two best ways to deal with that are, one, to have Anne do a concentrated Blazing Hell, which will take out, like, most of them, and if they don't, one of Haru's gun attacks should finish it off. Well, aside from the gun, obviously, you're going to have to do something else on that because it reflects gun damage. But that's one way to deal with it, but the best way to deal with it is to finish Futaba's social link, because then she gives you the ability to, like, you know, where she'll block an attack that's about to kill your party, which just, as long as you don't get any of your party members near death throughout the fight, she'll just protect you from that attack anyway, which, for me, is actually pretty easy. I don't know.
AKA God.
If you continue to reject that order, there will no longer be a place for you in this world.
Also known as Demiurge, this is
It's Demiurge. And you actually fight the Demiurge in Persona 5 Strikers as well, which was pretty funny that you basically just fight Yaldabaoth again.
Persona 5's true final boss, the entity fueling the existence of,
well, until Royal came around, that was.
Mementos. Again, basically God. You need
Basically,
to journey
yeah.
all the way to the bottom of the dungeon, here represented as the Tokyo subway system, to finally reach this guy. Like Izanami, Yaldabaoth has also been seen across the franchise. He's the one who wants humanity to submit to its darkest desires.
To work out the time of
This
his
way,
life, though.
It's not just Yaldabaoth you're fighting, but the corrupted desires of the entire population of Japan.
Which is fucking great for that game's story. It fits perfectly.
Kidding? This is just some kind of rigged game you started.
No shit, Ryuji.
The foolish masses merely spread indolent thoughts and force the progress of society backward.
He's got multiple forms and phases.
He has two phases. The first one of which is really, really easy and goes down really, really quickly.
Initially looking like the Holy Grail and then transforming into some angelic robot monsters, Transformers or something like that. This is another fight that's going to take even the best player a long time to beat. So
Nah, not really.
make sure you come to it with plenty of patience. I, for one,
Okay, yeah, patience is true. Yeah, you're gonna need patience.
did not. I got so flustered, honestly, that I booted the difficulty down to the easiest setting. I know. Roast me in the comments if you want. I'm not proud of it.
That right there tells you everything you need to know about this list and why it is the way it is. Like, what? Really, dude? You had to move Persona 5 down to the easiest difficulty? Like, Persona 5's a pretty easy game. Oh, God. Yeah, that just tells you everything you need to know right there.
I was too impatient, alright? But that's how hard it was. And I'll admit, I probably wasn't the best prepared. So,
As I say, there's literally a chest with a Soma in it in the room right before the fight, along with two really strong shadows that are good for grinding. You have no excuse here.
just fair warning.
So this is the true trickster.
Thanks for watching.
Alright, so, yeah, that list was pretty fucking bad. Like, none of those, like, I guess, like, sure, I can see Yaldabaoth on there, but as, like, the hardest one, like, nah. There should have been, like, I'm fine with the Reaper being on there, Lavenza should have been on there. One of the biggest things, here's the ones I think deserve to be on there, that were on there. Yaldabaoth, but lower, a lot lower. Shido, Original Madarame, I would have put the Crying Table on there simply because that fight is kind of ridiculous. Because with how I don't know, that fight's just obnoxious. And I also would have thrown Lavenza on there. Just from what I've heard about that fight, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. In fact, I think I'm kind of shocked none of the other Velvet Room attendant fights were on there, especially considering Elizabeth's has to be done on your own. So there's that to consider. But one fight that was not on here that I'm shocked wasn't is the Okumura fight from Persona 5 Royal. That should have been on here because that fight is fucking ridiculous. That fight is fucking obnoxiously designed to the point where it's like, oh god, that fight is so fucking stupid. Like, when the fight is actually easier on Merciless, you know there's a fucking problem. Like, that fight should have been on here. But, yeah, I don't know, this list was just not great. But, regardless, I set my opinions about the video, so I don't really have much more to say. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. Leave a comment in the comment section below telling me what you would have put into this list. I just gave you a couple of the ones I would have put in there. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see y'all next time. Oh, actually, you know what? Real quick, I just thought of one. One that should have been on there is Shadow Yukiko from the original Persona 4. Like, not the one from Golden, because the one from Golden's actually fucking... The one from Golden's really easy, but yeah, Shadow Yukiko from the original Persona 4 was actually fucking brutal. Like, anyone who's played the original Persona 4 knows what I'm talking about. Like, that fight was fucking crazy hard. Because in that version, Yukiko doesn't have a weakness herself, but her henchman does. In Golden, they both have weaknesses. But, yeah, the fight was a lot harder in the original compared to the way it is in Golden. So that's just something I wanted to shout out. But, regardless, subscribe, hello, I'll see y'all next time. Peace.